Hey guys, before we start this episode, I've just got one favour to ask of you. I don't ask much from you, but please can you follow, like, share the hell out of it. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, really appreciate you. Much love. So today's guest is my beautiful Evie Bella Lillian Hayes. You get the full title tonight. I don't think I'm giving you the full title before.
I don't think anybody on earth knows my middle name either.
Well, there you go. So, for those, if you're just tuning in for the first time, Evie is my eldest and my only daughter. And she's been on the podcast twice before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Basically she's on the podcast. I don't need to ask her twice. She's on there before I finish the sentence. With bells on. So she has no idea what we're going to talk about. A lot of it's going to be a little bit spontaneous, which I love anyway, which is kind of what we do on this podcast. But the main thing I wanted to discuss with Evie for yourselves and to dive deep in with is Evie and I have a great relationship, which I'm super proud of. Why'd you put your face like that?
We do.
We absolutely have a great relationship. We push each other's buttons as well, there's no denying, but we do have a fantastic relationship. We've always had open communication, which I adore, and that doesn't come easy. I'm not saying it's always been unicorns and rainbows, but we definitely do have that, and it's a relationship I'm super proud of and forever evolving and forever learning and growing. But one thing I always say to the kids, obviously super blessed in being a parent and being Evie and Charlie's mum, but is what I love is actually seeing the world through their eyes. And so I want to tap into that a little bit today of what it's like. Evie is 20 in October.
Oh,
Obviously,
I feel like I'm still 15, but continue.
Yeah, it's gone super quick. So I just thought it'd be really nice, and it'd be nice for you listeners as well to hear a bit more, about our relationship, but also just actually if you've got, if you're a parent or a caregiver or, an uncle, aunt, best friend, like however that relationship is, or you're about to go into parenthood, or you're a grandparent, whatever that might look like. I'm hoping you get something from this today. And just like I said, seeing it from Evie Bella, who's soon to be 20, leaving her teenage years. So you had no idea that's what we were going to talk about. You actually said to me before, what are we going to talk about? And we said, just let it unfold. But this was something that came, I just think it's important, and I think it'd be really nice to sort of, like I said, tap into that a little bit more. So when I was your age, my big thing, and this is where you and I are a little bit different, and we laugh about it in our house because I go, thank God there was no phones. Well, phones were just sort of coming in, but, no footage and evidence and things like that. And also that, which is, humorous, and friends and I, we laugh about it and say, thank God, Jesus. It would be really scary. But at the same time, I do feel sorry for today's generation. I think I wish I could kind of pick you up and give you a bit of a look as to what it was like for us growing up, how we were all more in the moment. No phones, you see people at concerts and they're all on the phone. They're not actually in it and enjoying it. And I just find that really sad. So let's, you tell me with yourself and your experience of being a teenager in today's world. Obviously, you don't have a comparison, but you're very wise beyond your years and you listen to us talk about it and grandparents and...
I feel like I had a different relationship to social media because I wasn't allowed social media. Well, I was allowed, I think it was like Snapchat when it first became a big thing. And I'm kind of the first year, like generation era, to kind of have both. Like I remember you got your first iPhone and Dad had his first iPhone when I was like 3 or 4. So I had like, I was the last year to have like Disney Channel and like Nickelodeon. And so I have like a bit of both. And I think I don't have older siblings, but we always had family friends who would watch like Disney Channel and all those like really 2000s-y kid. So I had like a bit of 2000s kid and a bit of like social media age, that first kind of run at it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't allowed social media. Like a lot of my school friends all had social media. I remember from being in like year 4, people had Instagram. And I was never, I mean, I had like little accounts here and there, but that was before we kind of really had those like safety talks about the internet. And I remember being like, oh, so angry because I was never allowed my phone in my room past like, I think it was like 7 p.m. or like anytime, I was going to sleep. I wasn't allowed my phone in my room. I didn't have social media. I just had like Musical.ly at the time, which I loved. I had like 1,000 followers on Musical.ly. Why? I have no idea. And I think, hopefully. No, but I think back then, like it was just the innocence of like creating, and you know how I loved editing, and like I was more into editing and longer video content of just like vlogs and like YouTube than I was into like Snapchat. I preferred like watching YouTube and creating my own videos and like Video Star rather than Instagram. Like I wasn't really that way anyway, but I remember
you were kind of, your life was in front of a video camera, wasn't it, like that we had, and you do your vlogging then, like we've got so much video of you actually vlogging and talking, like you're doing your own YouTube channel then at age 3 and 4.
It just came naturally. And I don't think, like I was very aware of social media, and I definitely grew up, like my generation, it was too young. Like I could not imagine giving my kids in the future social media when they're like 7, 8 and 9, because that's how young kids my age were on social media.
No, madness.
I'm like, oh my gosh, no. And like it's getting scarier, like each generation, like even Charlie's generation is like, I'm just like, no way. Like he wasn't on social media, but like most kids his age were on social media at like 5, 6. I'm like, there's no way.
Well, even with that, I mean, obviously Charlie's just turned 15. That's Evie's younger brother. And he's not allowed his phone in his room or anything like that. And I think I've mentioned it before, like we might be sitting there late, even when he was younger and when you were younger, and I'd be doing some stuff or whatever, and I could hear the phone notifications coming through like midnight sometimes if I was up late, which is just mortifying to me. So we were always really strict with that, and obviously whatever we did with you is we followed that same rule. Boy, girl, doesn't matter. That's what we've sort of stuck with. At the time, you thought it was like your world had ended a little bit, or if you went to sleepovers and things like that, but that was just, you appreciate that now, don't you, looking back?
Well, the rule still stands. Like, I have my phone in my room now, obviously. Like, she doesn't take my phone or anything, and I have my laptop, but honest, like with just default, I don't like go on my phone. And if I'm going on technology, it's like watching YouTube. I really don't go on social media at night. I think it's just something everyone, like as an adult now, suggests that too. Like you just shouldn't be scrolling, period. But I definitely don't do it at night past like a certain time. And I have my slip ups here and there, but it's just something that's like carried on. And now looking back, like I'm so glad that I didn't have my phone, and like I didn't have social. I had a phone. I had a phone pretty young, but I had no social media.
It was just for calls because you were dancing
like,
a lot. And
again, editing videos, and I would do vlogs with my friends. But I had like Musical.ly, but I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have Snapchat until like I was maybe 13, 12. And then again, my parents were always, checking over my stuff. But I think
do you remember you had Snapchat? Me and Dad didn't really understand it. Snapchat, to be fair, it was
very different before the Snap Maps thing came in.
Correct.
It was a lot safer.
And then I went to an information night at school, at your school, and
made me delete it.
yeah, they had the ex-police guy who was going around schools, and I can't remember anyway but he was high, like an inspector or something, and he went through, and then about what was the other one? There was Snapchat and there was something else. Musically was on there. I think Musically was just on its way out, because didn't Musically become TikTok?
Musically became TikTok when I was like in 2020, so near COVID, so not for a while.
Yeah, so whatever it was, anyway, you didn't have Instagram at the time, but I knew friends of yours did.
Everyone did.
Yeah, it was mad, and we allowed you to have Snapchat, and that was it. And then I got home and I was like, no, that's not happening. Snapchat's coming off.
I think that's because that's when they started showing they were going to do like snap maps and stuff where you could show your location.
Yeah, we were like, no, that's ridiculous. So that was it. That was gone for a good while.
That was gone for like
Musically.
3 years until we went to America, and I had no other way of contacting my friends, and I was like 12, and then you let me have it back.
Yeah. So we've always been, and I'm glad we were that way. Because, I think for me, as a parent, and obviously if Dad was here, he would say the same, but it's, you might bump heads a little bit and all your friends, and why haven't I mean, you still had a phone, you just could only use it for calls and things like that. But we'd rather have that conversation and those boundaries, rules set in place, than trying to hit it head on when you're 14, 15 and you're at point of no return then. Do you know what I mean? It's much easier to do it, start as you mean to go on. That's what I'm trying to say. So with you, obviously your era, like...
Well, to clarify, I was born in 2006.
Yeah.
So like early mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Which is like the last year. Like I think 2006, 2000, not even just 2007 kids were like.
And so how do you think, like, your perception, and obviously it's really hard, like it's only going off information. Like you said, you've had a taste of, early 2000s, and, obviously family members, and you hear conversations and how it used to be, but still it's not, you can't really compare. But for you, we've had big in-depth conversations about this, but how do you think, like, what's the pros and cons of social media about being a 19-year-old, like going out dating and, going out,
not that I am,
clubbing, or doing all of those things? All right, let's talk about dating then. Can we talk about that?
Well, I was going to say my first con is that you always, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself in this because I think I'm a bit wiser than older now, but like I always felt like people have this sense of the grass is always greener on the other side, and that's because you're not, like, us as humans are not naturally meant to realize, like, have that many options available to us, I don't think. And social media is a highlight reel as it is. So you're constantly seeing like the best of everybody at all times, unless, you're being vulnerable and sharing, and that's amazing and we need more of that. But even then still, like, you're seeing the best of everything and everyone at all times. And people just think that the grass is always greener somewhere else. And it's like carried on to like that mentality has moved from social media to real life. Like there's less of a line now. It's like,
it's blurry.
It's very blurry. Like social media, like people say like social media versus real life, but it is our real life. Like that is my generation's life, especially if you're someone like me. And I guess men and women are very different, because with women, I feel like there's a constant beauty standard. You're constantly seeing some new beauty trend you have to buy into. It's very exhausting. And there's many times where like, I feel like I'm pretty good about comparison and I don't really feel the need to do that. So I've had my moments, like sometimes without even realizing it, and I'm like, okay, I have to check in with myself, and then I realize like I don't actually care about that. It's just I feel like I have to. But yeah, I think even not with just with like dating prospects and like romantic the grass is always greener. I think just in life in general, like you'll be really excited about one of your achievements and then you'll see some other person's done something else amazing and you're like, oh, now I have to do that as well because that's a new level. It's just there's always...
Or it doesn't make my achievement look so good because they've done that, which is terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've, like this past year, I've definitely limited what I look at, like scrolling wise. I kind of just post what I need to, interact with who I'm friends with, and then I just get off because I'm like, I don't really need to know. I don't need to know that many people. Do you know what I mean?
We have a bit of an inside joke, don't we, when we say if there's something that we don't want to do, or, you know, it might be, I don't know, whatever, or I'd rather, you know, you might say, oh, I'd rather put hot pins in my eyes or whatever. We actually say, or I'd rather scroll. And
I'd rather scroll.
And we mean, like, we hate scrolling. Like, for me personally, I don't go on social media apart from in the Heart of the Vault stuff. That's it. I just I have a other account. I wouldn't have a clue. And it's actually quite freeing. I've been like that since Dad passed, haven't I? And it actually makes me come out in hives.
But it's also a very conscious decision because when I first implemented that, and I've not been a big scroller, I feel like I was very active as a kid, so I never had time to sit on my phone and scroll. I just wasn't doing that. I was at dance like 40 hours a week.
That's another thing, and I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, not to the extent where you didn't have any free time. I think that was important as well. You did have some downtime.
But I was never just sitting...
But you was never just sitting
on my phone.
Yeah, you danced, you know.
And then again, when I was so tired, by the time I got home, I would go to bed and I'd have school the next day, or on weekends I'd be watching YouTube or Netflix or like music videos and stuff. Like I just wasn't that kid. But what were we talking about just then?
I was saying about scrolling, scrolling. So it's like it's easier for me because I'm, you know, well, you'd think it would be, but I'm an adult and you kind of go, well, this is, and it doesn't mean that if it affects me that way, it's not going to necessarily affect you that way. I mean, to me, everyone scrolling on social media is not good for anyone, but it depends what kind of person, how addictive and time wasting that, like with yourself, like you're very good at saying, you know, that you can get like quite hyper fixated and you know, you obviously very busy with your business, on such an entrepreneur for such a young age, and you know how much that drains you. But I don't think everyone else is aware of that. Or do you think at your age they just do it because it's just there?
I think now it's become so much ingrained in like real life that people genuinely scroll for a brain break. Like it's like it is mind numbing. So like my friends, not to out them, but like it's just how we've grown up. But I can't really, and it's a conscious decision.
Say I need some phone time.
Yeah.
And that's their like.
And they'll just scroll and they'll be able to just mindlessly scroll, and that's where they get their dopamine from. And I feel like that's why, especially like me, I'm going into my 20s and I've seen so many things and just like articles about like how important it is to have hobbies and like get your dopamine. And actually there's a study on dopamine that the female nervous system has been studied as a man's. So it's not actually they've only just started studying it as a different entity to a man's nervous system. And so we don't regulate by dopamine, we regulate by oxytocin, which is slow, like yoga, it's like walks, it's like music, and like it's basically like the love hormone, whereas men dopamine. And I feel like everybody's looking for the next dopamine hit, and that's maybe why I feel like a lot of women are out of touch with a lot of things.
Well, then there's an incongruency there, isn't there? There's no balance there.
No.
It's almost the same as like, well, then it would be saying go to the gym and smash the gym, when that's not what you're seeking. You're actually seeking to be amongst nature. And
I don't think people know what they're actually
no.
And like I was going to say before is that it's scary how much I've lifted up my phone and I've started scrolling and I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't know why.
It just becomes a habit.
Yeah. And it's usually when I'm tired and I'm like, it's mind numbing.
Yeah.
Which is really scary.
It is addictive. It's like I don't scroll, but I'll get messages, obviously, a lot of messages. And then, you say to me, like, Mum, I thought you were chilling out and just relaxing. And I just feel the need to respond to messages. And you can go, well, okay, well, that's, just responded to messages through In the Heart of the Vault or whatever. But you're still on your phone. There's still that connection there. There's still,
and the
you're
crazy
not
thing is,
relaxing.
you'll go and respond to a message, but your iPhone algorithm is designed to keep you on there as long as possible.
And then you
So
got the
ads
blue
will pop
light
up.
and I know.
Ads will pop up that you literally have been talking about out loud with your friends, and you're like, oh, now I got to go online shopping because this ad's popped up, and
madness.
it's crazy.
So you're better off just actually putting it away after, if obviously understand that everyone needs phones, but just putting it away at a certain time.
Yeah.
And just not going on it.
And yeah, now that I'm conscious of it though, like I'm so excited for like spring and summertime, because I feel like I'm at that age where I'm like, no, actually really, like I feel like I've gone back to basics. Like my frontal lobe is developing, because I'm like, even with like beauty stuff, I'm like, no, I feel like what's underneath your makeup, like caring for your skin and all those like real important things matter more. I never used to really care. Like I was just like, oh, when I'm older, I'll get to it. But now I'm like, no, I really care about like the basic things in my life, like my nervous system. And like spring and summer's coming up, and my 20th is coming up, and I honestly don't want to do anything. I just want to have like a dinner and that's it. And then I want to like spend summer outside. Like that's all I want, because I feel like it's too overstimulating. It's getting worse every year. Not to scare people and like be like all scarcity, but it is like
I think your age group are getting better. I feel like obviously, with you, I see it with you. Like for example, you were supposed to go out last night and you were just like, I'm not feeling it. I don't want to get dressed up. I don't want to be amongst a load of people dancing in. It's not even a full-on club where you were going. It's more of a bar. It is
now.
Well, yeah, I suppose it is. But close to home, like you just didn't want to do it. I want to wake up fresh. I want to go to yoga tonight. I want to do all that, which is just so beautiful, where I'd be like, I'm going to yoga at 6 a.m. This is not now. This is like when I was your age. It wasn't yoga then, it was like Step Reebok. I'm going to do 3 back-to-back classes, but I am still going out tonight and getting in at 3 a.m. Ridiculous. Like, so everything's changed massively. But I think Yeah,
but you would go to socialize.
Yeah, because we had phone. We literally had phone. If you didn't go out, you didn't have the phone. As I got a bit older, we did. But it was like, also, if you said you were meeting someone, you were meeting them, because you had once they'd set off, they had no way of getting in touch with you. So plus you just thought, oh my God, what if they have the best night and I'm not there? Where you guys kind of look at your phones and have a look and suss who's going, or you might say, I'll see how I feel, and you can see what's going on unfolding.
It's a bit of that, and like I did that as a kid. I don't do that anymore. Like I can't suss. I don't have like Snapchat. I definitely don't have Snapchat now, but look at me, immature. Anyway, it's more so like what I said about the social media thing. Like people just, I think a lot of people I've noticed at the places that I go out, they go thinking like it's like a novelty. Like it's like they don't really want to be there, but because they don't really know how to socialize. And they just go because their friends said they were going, so I'll just go. Most girls, it's an opportunity to take photos for Instagram, like me. So they don't really care about actually being at the function. It's more just like, I just wanted a cute pic in my dress. And it's just very different.
Well, you actually said when you last went out, you said you had a better time getting ready.
And pre-drinking at home.
And a couple of drinks at home with your friends. A better time than you would have quite happily took your makeup off, had a shower and gone to bed after that, because part was really good. Which I understand. I get that, because then when you get there, everyone's just tapped out and or it's noisy and all of that as well. But what I love is how self-assured you are. And I think, obviously, some of your generation are very different and they love going out partying, no judgment, like each to their own. But you're very self-aware, liking yourself. You know what you want. You know what you absolutely don't want, and you won't tolerate anything in between. I'm not sure I was like that. I was very an old soul and self-assured in a lot of ways, but your generation know a lot more than we knew, I feel, for sure.
I don't know why. And like all of my friends say that about me, like their words, not mine. But they're like, but I do feel like I'm self-assured. Like I feel like I do know who I am more than most people my age. Probably by force, to be honest, but I don't know, I just do, and I'm proud of that fact. But I've never been that girl that's like, I need male validation, or I need to like go places to feel validated, like I belong somewhere. I just don't get that feeling of like FOMO. Like I get JOMO, which is joy of missing out. Sorry. No, I don't know. It's just very different. I feel like if you're not a surface level person, it's very hard to be in that environment for periods at a time. Like I could never be out clubbing and doing all that every weekend like some people do. But for some people, that's more if you like live for the weekend. Because there's a lot of people my age, like girls my age, who have like 9-to-5 corporate jobs now, and they don't have any other time to go out with their friends, so they wait till the weekend. I'm like, I couldn't imagine doing that. It's just a choice. But I'm too self-aware. Like I am so aware of my surroundings, and I pick up on vibes so easily. So if I'm like going on a girls' night and one of them isn't drinking, it like kills my vibe instantly. It's so weird. And it's like, that's fine. Like they're allowed to do that. But if like the vibes are very mixed, I'm like, I don't know where to slot myself. It's just really weird. It's a weird, like
Why? I'm surprised you say that, because you barely drink.
What do you mean?
Well, you just said if someone's not drinking.
No, as in like if they're like not, so if like me and my other two friends, like say one instance, me and my friend went and we were drinking, we had pre-drinks together, and then we went and we had like 2 drinks each, but the other friend that was there didn't drink at all, and you could just see it's more her like being in a loud, crazy environment for her. She was uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always...
So I was picking up on her uncomfortability, and then I'm like, oh God, I don't want her to stay here if she's feeling like that. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
But like, and then it's also the opposite, where you have one friend that takes it too far and you're like, oh, now I'm the babysitter, I'm the designated driver, you know, if you're not drinking. Yeah. But it's just like everyone's just different in that environment. And I feel like I'd love for like your generation to see what, like be flies on the wall and see what a night out is for us, because it's just really weird everywhere.
Oh, I don't, yeah. I think we had the best generation. Like my generation had the best time. I mean, I suppose that's like that everywhere, Australia and, you know, across the board. But obviously the UK, big nightclub scene, just, you know, I don't know, just free. But we did that. We worked hard all week and then partied all weekend. Maybe from your perspective as well, because you're you work for yourself, you run your own business. And so you have, even though you work hard, you do have a little bit of flexibility. So you're not, at the end of the week, absolutely exhausted. I mean, you are, because you work hard, but it's a little bit different. If you want to tap out and go and do a Pilates or go to the gym or go for a walk on the beach. And
I also just think it's personalities. I don't know if I'm an extrovert or an introvert. I
think you're a bit of both when it suits. Like you're quite extroverted, social.
I don't. Yeah, but when I think about myself, I'm very quiet. Like I'm not shy by any means, but I'm very quiet. I won't talk unless I'm spoken to or like talking to someone, and I feel like my face just like resting doesn't seem approachable, but I'm like the most approachable person ever.
I think you and always have done, you like to observe your surroundings.
I observe everything first.
Yeah, which you get that from me, because that's me. Just observe. You're not the loudest, you're not the quietest, but you just go in, observe your surroundings, and then if you feel at ease and you know, or if you're spoken to, obviously you'll talk to people and stuff, but you can sway to either depending on.
It just really depends.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I honestly come out of my shell more, and like this is what I said I wanted to do for my 20th is I just want to have a dinner with my friends and like drink wine. And I think when I'm with my friends and like the people I'm comfortable with, I like a restaurant where I'm like free to be myself. I can drink more comfortably and just be myself. But I feel like in those environments where it's like going out, that's why I like pre-drink so much, because I'm like, I could go my whole life without alcohol. Maybe not wine because I like wine. But I could go my whole life without alcohol and not bat an eye. But with my friends, it's like, it's the people you're around. You
love good conversation too.
I love a good deep convo. Yeah.
So sitting at a table, dinner table, like having great food, good deep, you know, wholesome conversation, good laughs, belly laughs with the people you love. That's your jam, isn't it? That's our jam. That's what we are. But you know, it's particularly what you do and what you love.
Yeah.
And so that's like perfect.
Yeah.
What about the dating scene?
I hate situationships, whatever that means.
Right, so explain that. I know that, but for those, some people might not understand that.
A situationship is like basically exactly what it means. Like it's like you're not dating, but you're talking, but nothing's been decided yet. So I don't know in your terms, like your generation, it's like exclusive but not dating.
Well, isn't exclusive when you're exclusive?
Oh, I hate this
I know, it drives me nuts. How much do me and my brother, she calls my brother her uncle Lala, but we just crack up at this because it's like, so, you know, are you exclusive, situationship, not ship, yes ship?
It's
like,
ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous.
I know, it's just embarrassing. It really is. And I think...
Do people put that on the bio?
No, it's not that bad.
Okay.
But I think I always say to people, like, I'm turning 20, but I feel like I've been in my 20s for the past 6 years. And so, and I do think this too, like in my experience, like my dad and all the traumatic events happened to me under 18. And I feel like I didn't miss my teenage years. Like I still got the best out of, I feel like, what I did have. But from like 16 to 18, my friends were out, like they had their first boyfriends and they were like talking to boys, and I just obviously had 2 brain cells and had no interests because I was basically just in survival mode. You
had nothing to give, did you?
Yeah, so it wasn't even really a thought. Like I might have tried, but it was never serious, and I don't know, I'm just like, I don't know. And I'm just very I just think that the chivalrousness, and I made a TikTok about this the other day, that I feel like with social media, again, going back to that, is there's always this narrative of like people relate more to negativity, and like it seems like there's so many negative relationships and like toxic men and toxic masculinity, and there is a lot of that, but there's also a lot of good in the world. And I noticed that, funnily enough, when I decided to stop scrolling, I saw so many relationships with like cute things that were happening in real life, and I'm like, why do we never talk about the good things, and like that there is healthy men out there? And like I think girls will get hurt once and then be like, I hate men, or even girls Charlie's generation grow up thinking, well, I have to say I hate men because everyone else does. But I'm just like, why do we
need to break that cycle, don't we? Because and again, social media, it's always been around, but we never had social media so it's been masked and hidden and not spoken about. And it's never, you know, people say there's so much more bad in the world. Well, possibly, yes, you know, the world is a rough ride for many, and there's some horrific things going on, obviously. But there's always been that. It's just blown up even more now, and people are jumping on
Well, social media and media in general, they try and make the worst. Like, if there's a bad situation, they give you the worst of it every time.
Of course they do. It's media hype. That's what it's there to do. That's why it's called doom scrolling, isn't it? It's there to magnify that, and not to say those things aren't happening, like I said, but it just, and then you only need to click on that once, and then that's it. Bang,
Your
that's in your
algorithms,
feed constantly.
Toxic men. Yeah.
For you and I have had this conversation a lot, and I think, like you've said to me, did you, I've said I've kissed a hell of a lot of frogs, but, if you went out with someone on a night out, that was likely, there was no other way, you couldn't go through the social media to see, so it has its benefits in a lot of way that you can see, what kind of friends, who are they following. You've said to me, like, if someone's slipped into your DMs, and they seem really nice, and then you have a look at how many people they're following and who they're following and what kind of post are they liking, it's a that's it. They've not even got to the next open conversation, like let's have a chat stage, which is, we might have had to have gone through 2 dates to establish that, sometimes hopefully the first and never again, but it does have its benefits in a lot of ways, like I said, but then also you're really quite picky. And I've said
quite is a nice way of putting it.
Very picky. And I've said to you, that's amazing. And not speaking about you for this, but I go, whatever you're looking or seeking in someone, write down those things, and are you ticking the box on all of those? Because I think that's where generation goes wrong. Like, they're like, I want this, this, and this, and this, and this.
What are you bringing to the table?
Okay, well, let's have a look. What you're looking for, is that how you operate? Because if you don't, how about we fix that first? Which is, God, we're all growing and learning, aren't we? There's nothing wrong with that. But I'll say to you, maybe just, give them a chance, or they'll, like I said, they might say something on a message or whatever, and you're like, oh no, that's giving me the ick. That's it now. That's not, that's, and you'll go, you might make reference and say it to me or tell me, and I'll be like, yeah, actually that's.
Because when am I ever wrong? First of all, I've never been wrong.
No, true.
About and most of the time, if I say ick, I don't mean like the things that they do. Sometimes it's just like that's like you're soft launching some insecurity behind that sentence.
About because you get a lot of, obviously, interest, which happens, which is just natural.
I wouldn't say that, but anyway.
You disregard it. You don't I
don't care. I'm just oblivious.
It's just what it is, social media. But you're very, very particular, like I said. But if there'll be open conversation. It's almost like you'll have conversation with them, and conversation will be going quite good, and which is amazing, because you make sure you've got, you can relate to each other, and you like chatting to each other, not giving too much away, but you have conversations, good, healthy conversations back and forth. And then all of a sudden they just pull back. And then so you're like, oh, okay, well, that's it then. Well, I'm not going to, you're not one to keep going back.
Well,
you have done. But what is that? Like, the common thing has been where all of a sudden you've gone, nah, well, actually, screw you in a nicer way, but I'm not putting up with this. And then all of a sudden they feel the need to try and come back in.
Because...
What's your interpretation of that?
I mean, I can't really speak for anybody else and like why they do the things they do.
No.
I've learnt, but I think I naturally attract and have attracted, and I'm changing that because it's obviously something in myself, and it's a lack of boundaries that I've had, is I attract avoidant men
Baby
who
birds.
maybe love bomb at the start and then they go, oh, I can't keep up with what I said. And I think not to like,
Gas yourself
I know what I
up.
have to offer, like, and I'm very young. And I think with just my experience is that the perfect person or like someone who genuinely just has good intentions can come along, and that's like too hard to believe for our generation because like I said, there's so much negativity about like, well, you're going to get hurt eventually and all this stuff, which is just ridiculous because not everybody should get tarnished with that. I just don't agree with that. And so I feel like I have that. I do genuinely I enjoy romantic connections. Not that I've ever had like a serious boyfriend, but like when I've had like situationships, like I value that. I love like caring for people. And I think like sometimes people think I'm too good to be true because I just genuinely care a lot and I'll do anything. Like I feel like once you're in my life, like you're in with me. So I don't know. I feel like, and then it's just, I don't know, it's just probably a lot of things, and I can't really speak for everyone, but my experience. And I think once I've had enough and I realize I'm overdoing my part and it's actually hurting me, because I feel like I sometimes have this habit of over giving, because it's probably like a child, like I don't know where it comes from, but just like overdoing my part to prove that I'm like worth staying or worth choosing. It's really weird. And I've noticed that I have it with friendships as well sometimes. Maybe not so much now, but I have in the past. And that you can't water a plant too much, otherwise it's going to die.
I think when you've been, to speak on what you just said before, just then, but as your mom and as an observer, is because you are so loyal. Like loyalty is one of your biggest core values, and the same as mine. It's like when I've got you back, I've got you back. And when it's not reciprocated, it really hurts. It's really hard to...
Well, it's a lack of consideration and it's a lack of loyalty that I
Correct.
find really hard to...
So you really, again, this is my perception. I know we have conversations in depth, but it's you're like, well, if I'm giving you this and you, in your case, it's been it's been reciprocated in the beginning, like you said, but then all of a sudden it's like they can't keep that up, and it's not much. It's not like it's just conversation. It's the uncertainty of it all, and it starts to grapple with you a little bit, which is understandable. And again, like for you are so mature and so grown up for your age, like way beyond many adults double your age out there. I think sometimes that's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You know, like I said to you, you couldn't. I don't feel you couldn't. I think it'd be a rarity if you found your match in someone who was your age or a little, like, you know, your age. I think it would have to be someone, you know, a couple of years older or something. That's just sort of...
Yeah, but you never know, because some mum might be saying it to their son who's my age and
I
look
know,
at me.
and that's it. That's what I'm saying. So I'm only speaking from your perspective, but we kind of went off track a little bit there. But I just think it definitely, my observation is social media is a blessing and a curse in that sense, because like I said, you can almost have that first date or initiation where you can just gauge them first before even having to meet them, and I think that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think that's great. But then also it goes back to anyone can be anyone online, can't they? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, obviously we've even had guests on the podcast who've vouched for that in some really bad ways. So it's not always what you see. And lip service as well, which I said to you, it's not anyone can give lip service, it's the actions. Watch what they do, not what they say. And also watch what they're doing when no one's watching them, because anyone can be, do wonderful things and say wonderful things in front of people, but it's what's going on when no one's watching.
Well, I wasn't gonna, I have talked about it briefly because, well, have I? I don't know. Well, I've wanted to talk about it briefly. It's like the situationship thing. I feel like every girl goes through a situationship that's like, oh, this is really not healthy. At least once. And I don't think it's it is talked about, but oh my God, feminine intuition when it comes to dating is really important, I think. And it's something that a lot of girls lack, because I hear stories about people my age in relationships. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? I would never want that for myself. And so I think, I don't know, I'm really at a stage, honestly, for the first time in my life, I'm so busy, and I've always been busy, but I'm really enjoying my friends, and I'm turning 20 and I just have so much work to do, and I love my work, and I don't really feel, I'm just really not interested. Wholeheartedly, I just have no interest. And I think that's because,
well, you do, let's call a spade a spade. You had a situationship. We won't go into that too much.
Yeah.
But why I'm touching on that is you had one recently, so up until a few weeks ago, let's say.
Over a month ago.
And it sort of, it had you in its clutches for a little while.
Really badly. And you hadn't met, but it was just conversations and things, and obviously great conversations. He's not here to speak about himself, so it's not about that. I'm not bringing that up about that. What I'm saying is how that had you in its clutches, and all of a sudden it started to affect your work, your business a little bit, just not intensely and not on a massive realm. I would say intensely.
Well, probably for about a week there, didn't it?
I would say longer than a week.
Yeah, okay.
Well, maybe completely honest.
A couple of weeks. I mean, longer in total, but when it was really bothering you and affecting you. And as your mom, obviously I was there and trying to help you through it and do all that. But for you, it was me observing, watching you. It seemed to unravel even more, because it was you knew, you're so self-aware that you're oh my God, why is this affecting me like this? This is you telling yourself, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't be, why did I even allow myself to even start caring? Because now I've taken my eye off the ball with everything around me.
Yeah.
And it's basically, like I said, it's got its arm around me, and I should know better. But then there's this fine line. I'm well, don't let that harden your heart, because that's not fair. At the moment, I'm not going to say to you, well, you'll learn next time or anything like that. I would never say that. It would never come out of my mouth. But it's all growing and learning, even though in the thick of it, it's and you said to me, which is really funny, we were driving home from the gym the other day, and you said, oh, I've started to develop the ick now. So now it's important.
Okay, just to clarify, when she says the ick, it's more the respect for myself kicked in.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Not
a dig at him.
Not the person. Yeah. Definitely not a dig at him. It was more of you going, oh my gosh, how did I let myself get to that ick of going, that's not good. I value myself too much to allow that to.
But I think looking back, I really needed that situation. I think every girl is annoying, as bad as it is, needs a situation that shows you where your boundaries are. Because I said, I missed out on that for first few years of when my friends were talking to boys and all that. I wasn't interested. And I didn't not that they were then, but they were learning more like things than I was. And I've never like, until I think this last situation, I didn't really know what my boundaries were. And like literally a few weeks ago, I wrote down all of my boundaries because I was like, these are the things that I've learned, instead of going like, I hate all men and going down that route.
Because like it's easy to do that, but I would say to you, we're not going down that route, because there's some, beautiful humans, beautiful males out there. It's just, don't be, like the others. It's just not good. It's not fair to do that. But it's understandable when you're coming from her and trying to understand. But I think when you narrow it down, and what it actually came to was lack of control for you, because you like to control, you like to know. You've always been that child, even and we've got plenty of video footage of proof where you like to know what's coming next.
I like to be in the flow, know where the flow is going.
Know what.
Yeah.
So if you had a birthday party, you'd fantasize about this birthday party, how it was going to be.
I'm a visual
and if it
visionary.
didn't go that way, it wouldn't be, not spoiled child stamp your feet, but you could tell you'd get really emotional about, if friends weren't behaving as they should. Like, you really, really took everything to heart. And it's like, or you're at an event and you're asking me about the next day because you like to forecast and know.
It's definitely that, but I'd say that stems from certainty. Like, I have to have certainty. I'm just a sensitive girly that way. Like, I've always needed, like, that's where it stems from, really. It's like that. I don't want to control anybody. It's more just like I like the stability and certainty of knowing what my next step is. I've always been like that, and I think it's really hard to find that.
Well, it's hard to find for that.
In general,
you can be certainty is a beautiful word, of being certain that everything will be okay.
But it's more of like a stability of like knowing that the person you're with is going to say one thing and stand on what they say.
Of course. Like, you should never, I've said to you, the right thing will never bypass you, and you should never feel that you're seeking the love, or not. I'm not just talking about partners, but friendship, anyone. You should never feel like you're having to seek that and validate that. Like, it should be a natural thing. And if it is feeling like that, it's not the right person or the right friendship or whatever it is. So there's nothing wrong with that, and it's all learning, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just a busy gal. I feel like if someone really wants to make things work with you, like, obviously all circumstances are so different, and I don't always believe in that if he or she wanted to, they would, because sometimes that's not the case, and people can only give the capacity of what they have. And like, I think what I realized, like, it's fine to like, it's like that podcast of that girl, and she's on Jay Shetty, and she's like, he's like, is love enough? And she's like, love the action or love the feeling, because the action is not talked about enough, and that's the thing that people want the most, is like, you can say and say and say things.
Correct.
And I think that's where, like, for me, it's like, I know that I always mean what I say, and like, if I say something, especially with friendships and people around me, I absolutely follow through on it. Like, I don't take that lightly. And so I find that lack of consideration and like, what's the right word I'm looking for?
Loyalty.
Not loyalty, but just like people doing exactly what they say they're going to do, and like, otherwise just don't say it. I think I find that really personal, because I don't understand. It's not a value that I'm prepared to like.
Well, it's like over promising and under delivering, isn't
Correct.
it? It's just like, just don't give me the lip service. If you're not going to do it, just don't say you're going to do certain things or whatever. It's just, and I'll get over that. It's harder to get over when they promise that and they don't follow through with that.
And I think like, I'm really interested in like masculine and feminine energies. I don't like toxic masculinity and all that, and I don't agree with like trad wife that's each their own. It's just not for me. I'll be working for myself forever. But I don't want to be like, I take who is going to be my boyfriend, even if it's not till marriage, very seriously. Because, like, that's the person that you're supposed to go to when things are terrible and also really good. And so if you don't have stability over basic things, you're not going to get it even when things are good. Like, you won't have that support system. So I just think, like, people go into relationships without considering all these deeper things.
And that, but I think that's another generational thing. I mean, you know, messages might and from the audience might come through and tell me otherwise, but I don't think, you know, you might have those obviously things that the real obvious things, religion, children, you know, those types of things. But I think, yeah, certainly when I was your age, those, other than that, I don't think things really came up per se. I mean, I'm sure they did, but you guys are just much more in the knowing of what you want and what you don't want, I feel. But that's my perception from you and from your group of friends who I'm close to. But then like attracts like, that's your group of friends for a reason, because you're all on the same wavelength, you know?
And I would say also, like, I'm just very sure of, like, myself and, like, my career, that I don't need anybody else to do that for me. And I don't need, like...
You don't need, but I think there's you know, there has to be a balance there where just because you can doesn't mean you should have to.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's nice to be, you know, I think with relationships, they said it has to be 50-50. I call rubbish on that, because it's not going to be 50-50. There's going to be days where you've only got 10% left in the tank, and they've got to, you know, they don't have to, but you'd hope they're the 90, and then vice versa.
Well, that's
40,
what makes
60.
it so special, is you get to see if, like, when you're down, like, how willing someone's able to go, what am I saying?
Capable.
How capable and how far in effort someone's willing to keep up for you, and vice versa. Like, you should do the same for them. So, yeah, I agree on that.
And if they're not doing the bare minimum in the beginning, then it's not...
It ain't going to happen later, sister. We just tell you.
They, you know, obviously need to go and do a bit more learning and growing, or you're not the person, because, you know, making them want to be a better person. And the same for you. Whoever you end up with, you want to be better for yourself, but for them as well, you know, for the relationship and evolving together. So do you feel with your friendships, you know, behind the phone, having deeper meaning, again, you know, me observing you and your group of friends, I mean, they quite often sit with me and we, you know, have big discussions, which I love. Not everyone gets that, and I understand that.
Yeah.
They might just, well, that's no judgment. Like, it might be, it's down to the child, it's down to the relationship, a lot of factors. So everyone's very, very different. As I said, we've always been open communicators, which has been a blessing. But do you feel your conversations with your friends, do you think, like, you're very good at putting your phones down and going off on the beach and going for big walks and connecting and just, you know, having great conversation, but do you think a lot of people hide from that now? Do you think that's definitely been a hindrance where they don't have to have those conversations? Or do you, like what I was going to say to you earlier on as well, what I'm finding with your generation, I think you are evolving. There seems to be more who are wanting to have big, like, sleeps like massive now, which, you know, which is a brilliant thing to see, and not drinking alcohol as much, and really looking after internal, external, you know, it's kind of slipped away from that less and less, I feel. But do you think that's the same with, like, deep conversation? Do you think you're Or is that me looking at it through the lens of being your mum? It's just normal to us, and that's normal that I observe that with you and your besties, and
As in, it's
and even
more,
you with family, how you talk. I'm not just talking about me, but how you are with our family. You're very open and have great conversations. And is that an observation that I make because that's how you are and your friends are with me and our family? Or do you think as a whole your generation are getting better at having big conversations and being more open?
No. I think, again, it comes down to personality. And, like, obviously, I just naturally have gravitated towards my friends because we're so similar.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting is some of my friends, like, I have, like, 7, the most genuine group of friends I've ever had. I have, like, 7 of them, all from different places. And you could put, like, 2 of them without me in a room together and they couldn't have a deep conversation. But put me in a room, I think I just, like, speaking for me, I think I just am that way, and I don't think you could be my friend without expecting me to ask where in your childhood something stems from. Like, I think that's just who I am. I'm just very deep. I don't think all people are like that.
Well, you're very quick on finding a common ground, like, of what they're comfortable.
Yeah, and I don't think that I'm deep with all of my friends. I think there's some friendships I have that I've scoped it out and I know that's just not our vibe, but I know that my best friend and I can have deep conversations, and, like, not everybody, like, there's obviously substance to those friendships, like, other than deep conversations, but I don't think that I respect that not everybody has that, or they don't have that with other people. Maybe it's something they keep to themselves. So I don't know.
And it doesn't always have to be like some of the, you can, with your besties, you can have the most deep conversations, like really deep. You're in the thick of it. You're doing that well. And then next thing you're dancing around, just being lunatics, having a great time, wholesome, like whatever you do, making up dances, like just doing all sorts of stuff, which is beautiful. Like, it doesn't have to be, it's not like you go around having deep and meaningful conversations, but they're very enriched conversations, aren't they, when you do have them? But just as much as is dancing around and being crazies together and just having proper belly laughs is just as wholesome as well. I suppose a lot of people, like, listening to this would go, well, I have more than that. I have acquaintances and I have certain groups of friends I know I can guarantee to have a proper belly laugh, but we never talk deep. They probably wouldn't know that much about them, but that's okay. Like, they're there for different reasons, seasons and all of that. You kind of know who your people are now, don't you? It took a lot of swift left turns, right turns, upside down, let downs.
I wouldn't say that naturally I value depth in a friendship, but I think I can recognize that not everybody has depth to some point. It just depends if you're the right person to
feel safe.
Yeah, and just click with that type of personality. I think so. Like I said, all of my friends could get in a room and I have a complete different friendship with all of them. They're not the same at all because different personalities, and there's so many layers to, like, one person that, and then 2 of them could go off and have a complete different relationship that's just so different to me and them and can't get deep. Like, it's just different personalities. But I would say, like, it's like those TikToks where people, like, they say, like, strangers or somebody you just met at a bar, like, shares their whole life story with you because they have you have a trustworthy aura.
That's me.
I think I have that.
You have that as well.
And I'm like, I did not need to know that, but thank you.
Literally, we've been in the shops, haven't we? Remember not that long ago, we were in Spotlight, wasn't it? I had to pick something up, and that lady,
she was
the cashier lady, literally, there was a big lineup as well, and she just needed to just get off the chest and tell me everything, and I was like, right, like, okay,
yeah,
that's nice. Like, I couldn't not listen. But yeah, we have that all the time, don't we? It's
I
just one
always
of those.
get that. I know you won't say anything. I'm like, go on, hit me with it.
Well, hence in the heart of the vault, that's where the vault came from, didn't it? Because it was just under lock and key unless it's they want to share it. So, sorry, pause. Don't do
Pause.
that with your eyes.
My eyes are hurting. I'm just bloody tired.
So take that. All right, I just want to wrap it up then quickly.
Go on, Diva. And then before you go downstairs, I want to do a quick TikTok. It takes 2 seconds.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up now. Thank you so much for joining me. I love having our little chats and sharing you with
It's been
all
fun.
our listeners. Obviously, Evie will be on. She loves to jump on the podcast.
I love you,
But I hope you did get something out of it. It's nice to just see it from the next generation's perspective. I always say to the kids, always be the student, not the teacher. And what I mean by that is from any age. Like you can have mentors who are years and years younger than you. You can learn something from a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old. Like it doesn't matter the age. And that's the same with that, which is what I say. I learn so much from my kids. I love seeing the world through their eyes and the lens. I'm learning every day. And I think that's if you're in, we're all learning and growing, and in your environment, if you have someone who's a lot younger than you, just listen to them and listen to what they've got to say, not necessarily as their parent or anything like that, but we can learn a lot. So Evie, Bella, Lillian Hayes, on that, I just want to say I love you and thank you for joining me on In the Heart of the Vault.
Love ya.
Love ya.